We now shift our attention to the job market in Zambia, and joining me now in studio is Pinalo Chifwanakeni, the Rector at the University of Lusaka. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Much appreciated for your time. Unemployment in Zambia, according to some of the research that we've done, sitting at 17%. Some say that it's far higher than that. Tell us about the numbers that we're actually dealing with on the ground.
Thank you. It's just unfortunate that I can't give you the exact number that we are sitting on. Some 3-4 years back, we're experiencing some increase in unemployment levels. But I should be able to mention now that there is a slight improvement in the levels of employment in the country.
Well, that's very good news. I mean, we know that when you look at the overall population of around 9.9 million people in Zambia, the ages between 15 and 24 make up the most part of the population. We know that there are various issues when it comes to skills and, of course, education. Is there enough that is being done by the government to ensure that those youths are put into the workforce? And, of course, it really comes down to the skill scenario.
Thank you. Basically, when you look at the age group between 15 and 20, in Zambia, those are school-going ages at tertiary education and secondary school. And what government has done of late is that there's been some construction of trade schools where those age groups are being encouraged to go and learn hands-on skills.
With regards to the labour laws that are currently experienced in Zambia, we know that there's also been quite a lot of question marks to what we're experiencing in South Africa. Do you think that they need to be more relaxed? We know that we've heard a lot of rhetoric from youths on the ground that they are willing to take below minimum wage so that they are included in the workforce. Do you agree with that?
No, not really. We've got a minimum wage, which is not very bad, and I'm sure government is working on it. And what we are encouraging, like I've said, is that let these children or the youth go through some vocational training for us to get value out of them.
So you do not think that the Zambian labour laws at this point in time are excluding or ensuring that the certain amount of people are excluded from the labour workforce?
Not at the moment.
Which is good news, because at the end of the day you've got to increase your workforce. But one big focus of the Zambian economy, of course, is the copper industry. A lot of concerns about the heavy reliance on the industry. In terms of diversification, beneficiation, of course, has been on the cards, and not only in Zambia but across the continent.
That's correct. What has been happening across the continent, if I put it generally, is that we've been doing the mining. If we talk, say, copper in Congo, copper in Zambia, and other minerals, say, in Angola and the other countries, is that we've been exporting the raw copper, the raw ore. We have not been translating that raw copper or raw ore into a finished product that would add value, meaning that you will have more money remaining in your home country if you add value to the product that you've mined, other than sending it out in its raw form.
It's fascinating. Beneficiation, the term has been, of course, bandied around for some time now when it comes to Africa, and still we haven't seen projects coming to the fore. What is it going to take?
I think what it will take is skills development, and I think that's where the institutions of learning should actually upgrade the skills in the schools, such that people will be challenged to actually go to the level of producing a finished product. Why should we export copper in its form when we can actually make products, and it's the products which we need to be exporting?
And of course,
and in that way, you're going to actually create more employment. Because what we're doing is when you export raw copper, you're actually exporting employment, because some processes will be done in the country to which those raw copper ores are exported.
The copper price sitting at around $9,650 a ton, a lot of demand coming through from China, but we've also seen a lot of Chinese interest within the country, and China moving in quite heavily. Would you say this is a positive element?
It's both ways. It's positive and negative. It's positive in the sense that there is a foreign direct investment coming in the country, translating into employment as well. But again, there are certain skills which maybe the Chinese nationals would be able to take on, and not necessarily that they are taking the jobs on because the Zambians can't do them.
You're talking about skills transfer?
Yes, skills transfer, yeah. Because, again, there are certain areas for which we have not yet produced the skilled human resource.
In terms of the University of Lusaka and your involvement in terms of creating jobs, again, some rhetoric that we've heard from on the ground, that a lot of kids that do want to go and embark on a university degree do not have the financial means to do so. How do you close that gap?
We are a private university, and basically whoever comes to our university has to pay. But the fees are affordable. We're charging fees that are affordable. And government, on the other hand, does offer bursaries for those who go to the public institutions. So the government has actually, when you look at the numbers of those people accessing the bursaries, there is an increase because they have two universities, the Copperbelt University and the University of Zambia, which are availed with those bursaries.
Some have argued that one of the biggest headwinds facing the African continent is the lack of education. Would you agree with that?
It is. And it's that quality of the education that we need to get. We need to teach our citizens outside the books. We've been teaching them within the book, so that the levels of initiative, the levels of entrepreneurship is not so much coming out. Whether they get their first degrees, their masters and PhD, we need to see it translated into value adding.
Absolutely. Let's go back to minimum wages. You were alluding to the fact that you weren't of the view that the current employment laws in Zambia are not a hindrance to overall job growth. Taking a look at what's happening in South Africa at the moment, we keep talking about aggressive labour wage demands. Is it fascinating to see what is happening on the ground here? Do you see a similar trend occurring in Zambia?
It could occur in Zambia. But the negative part of it is when you're demanding so much in terms of the wage, you should relate to the production costs, because the more you demand in terms of wages, the more the production costs it will be, and the more the selling price of a product or a service it will cost the consumer.
Let's touch on other peripheral issues when it comes to the African continent. A very big issue that has been on the table, of course, is political risk. Zambia, of course, they say one of the safer regions within the African continent. Do you think perceptions of risk are changing on the continent?
The perceptions of, when you talk about the political risk, as we go, most of the countries are trying to get into the democratic processes, which will eventually reduce the political risks in Africa, because Africa is now the hot center for investment.
The last economic frontier, so to speak.
Yeah, this is where you have the potential for development.